Forget accidentally freezing himself and waking up 1,000 years in the future. Fry has committed so many insane and unsurprisingly stupid crimes, he may just end up in the big house for thousands of years too. Huh? Ow, my head! Ow, my feet! Ow, my head! Keep your chin up! Ow, my chin! From embarrassing misdemeanors to heinous acts of terror that make Bender seem like a model citizen, we're gonna cover the many crimes of Philip J. Fry, starting with invasion of privacy. Look, unless you're Team Android for life, everybody wants to get their hands on the new iPhone. I know I do. There are definitely way cooler phones in the year 3000, though. In the episode Attack of the Killer app, the crew gets a literal iPhone installed in their minds. The device basically does everything an ordinary iPhone does, except you control it with your thoughts. Pretty neat, huh? Ors, Fry here, burping eggs, scratching my underarm fungus, looking for Lev. Send. If Fry had Tinder, I wonder what his bio would say. Actually, maybe I don't want to know. Besides Mom being able to read people's thoughts and exploit them for marketing purposes, the main flaw of having a camera in front of your eyes 24/7 is that everybody's embarrassing moments can be caught on camera and shared on the internet for the whole world to make fun of. Like this video of Fry attempting karate in his tighty whities. Ooh, woo, hoo-yah. No, please, send. That is low, Ben, by your standards. But what now? Angry at Bender for sharing one of his most humiliating moments of the world, and for having 49,997 more followers than him, he only has 3. Womp. Fry makes a bet with the robot. The first one to make 1 million followers wins a singular dollar. The loser must double somersault into a tub of alien goat vomit and diarrhea. Nice. Bender's video of the professor catching fire goes viral and his followers reach 200,000. Meanwhile, Fry's videos on politics achieve a record-breaking 37 followers. Oh, dang. Oh, now it's dropped to 19. If Philip Man wants to win, he'll need to create a video 1 million times more entertaining than anything Bender has ever posted. And after discovering that Leela has a singing Scottish boil named Susan on her butt, he's hit the jackpot. You're saying, whoa, gross. 1 million follower gross. Leela begs Fry to delete the video and not expose her Susan Boyle butt boil to the world, but the jackass posted it anyway. The hilarious and slightly disturbing clip naturally goes super viral, and pretty soon the entire world is mocking Leela. The contest ends in a tie, but Fry jumps into the pit of poop and vomit anyway as an apology for humiliating Leela. Filming his friend's butt and posting the clip on the internet without permission could be considered an unlawful invasion of privacy, and the misdemeanor is punishable by 6 months imprisonment and $1,000 in fines. Leela ended up forgiving Fry for what he did, but I wonder if Susan Boyle ever forgave the show for portraying her as a disgusting butt boil who can't even sing a note in tune. I really don't think I've ever seen a celebrity get roasted that bad by a cartoon. Not talking about South Park, but that's a whole different video. Isn't applying for jobs just the worst? You send out like 200 applications, going to never hear back, and if you're lucky enough to actually get an interview, you actually have to put on a suit and fake a big old corporate smile. The days where you can just walk into a business and ask for a job are long gone. However, in Futurama's world, hiring standards clearly became way too relaxed over the past 1,000 years, because now perverts like Philip J. Fry can literally walk into businesses naked and get hired without anyone even batting an eye. In the episode Law and Oracle, a bank robber breaks into Planetary Express and holds everyone hostage. A piggies, I want a hovercopter and a non-mock sandwich and a new face with like a Hugh Grant look. Someone's gonna get stabbed in the eye. He's bluffing. Police arrest the scumbag, and Fry becomes jealous of the officers who are attracting all the chicks and getting to drive cool cars. Leela says nobody likes a man in uniform if they wear short pants, so Fry vows to quit his job as a delivery boy and resign with dignity. So I guess this episode happened on opposite day. The option is to resign with dignity. Here are my shorts. Now, you may be thinking Fry is heading to the store to buy long pants. Hell doesn't know. He actually waltzes straight into the police academy and asks for a job, but this bare button wiener is still on full display to enroll in police academy. You think you can just waltz in here with no pants and become a cop? I like you, kid. I got no pants on either. I can see that. You're quite a bit tall, and amazingly, he gets hired on the spot without even handing in a resume. However, his policing career is short-lived, because, you know, this guy sucks at everything. This should go without saying, but Fry committed indecent exposure by taking his pants off and parading in public with everything hanging out. The dude didn't strip off to satisfy some sick urge, at least I hope he didn't, so he'd only be given the minimum penalty for the crime, which is about 6 months in jail and $1,000 in fines. Fry's very first crime took place in the very first Futurama episode, Space Pilot 3000. He didn't exactly commit the most heinous act ever, but it's still fun to watch the crime play out. When our protagonist wakes up from a very cold 1,000-year slumber on New Year's Eve, 2999, he's living the dream. This is a chance to turn over a new leaf and leave his old loser life as a single pizza delivery guy behind. And he's super pumped to find out what exciting, mega cool career chip that Future will permanently be installing him with. Delivery boy? No, not again. Hell-bent on never returning to the fast food industry, even though his name is literally Fry, Philip makes a run for it and police chase after him. He tries to hide from the officers in the Museum of Heads, but chooses a terrible hiding spot and gets attacked by President Nixon, and then by lightsaber batons. Oh, please, officers. There's no need to use force. Let us handle this weirdie. Fry manages to escape, but still takes a job as a delivery boy anyway. He's cool with it, though, since he gets to work on his great-great-great-great-great-grandnephew's spaceship. I'm missing a few greats there, but you get the picture. Running away from cops to avoid being arrested is actually a crime in itself. It's called evading arrest, and the misdemeanor would earn Fry an entire year in jail plus a $1,000 fine. Ever wondered why Fry literally screamed Yahoo when he woke up in the future and realized his family were dead? Most people would immediately break down in tears, but I guess those people have parents who love them more than baseball. And Grody leans into the pitch. This is the happiest day of my life. Here's your baby, ma'am. Yeah, okay, Philip disappeared. Wisconsin won the roll 17-9. The episode Luck of the Fryrish also reveals why Fry hates his older brother Yancey. When Philip was born, Yancey became bitterly jealous of him for having the normal name, and from that day onward made it his life's mission to steal anything he could from his little bro, including that lucky 7-leaf clover. Stealing is pretty normal sibling behavior, and the fact that Philip hates his brother just for that is seriously petty. However, these feelings definitely seem more justified when present-day Fry discovers what Yancey got up to after he disappeared. Who is that godlike figure? And there, in his lapel, my 7-leaf clover. I knew he stole it. Why does the inscription say Philip J. Fry? That's my name. Good Lord. He ditched his goofy name and stole mine. Brave Adonis, this Cadillac of men, was the first person on Mars. First person on Mars? He stole my clover, he stole my name, and he stole my life. And now he broke my hand. I love how Fry's getting all upset that his brother stole his dream of going to space when that's literally what he does every day. Sometimes just to buy outer space donuts. What I wouldn't give to try one of those. Later that day, Fry becomes enraged after watching a movie about his super successful brother and all of his achievements. The film reveals that Yancey was buried at the lucky 7-leaf clover, and in perhaps one of the most unhinged moments ever, Fry literally digs up his dead brother's remains just to take back a stupid leaf during time. What? For a Flesh's wedding ring. Hey, Fry, you want me to smack the corpse up a little? You're probably wondering why Fry is crying. Well, that guy they just dug up wasn't Yancey at all. His brother actually had a son and named him Philip J. Fry in honor of his missing uncle. Fry is so moved by this that he puts the clover back in the grave. Desecrating his own nephew's grave for a leaf is a major a-hole behavior move, and I'm sure a dark cloud of shame was hanging over Fry for the next couple of weeks after that. Exhuming a dead body without a court order would get Fry charged the cemetery desecration. That's the legal term for grave robbing, and a conviction would result in a 4-year prison sentence and a $250 fine. What's the stupidest thing a cartoon character has ever spent their money on? Squidward spent his life savings trying to win on a claw machine. Peter Griffin bought that tank, and Fry, well, he only went blew $50 million on a can of frackin' anchovies. In the episode A Fish Full of Dollars, Fry goes shopping and is shocked to discover that stores in 3000 no longer accept Visa. He's even more shocked when he discovers how much interest has accumulated in his bank account over the past 1,000 years, a balance of 93 cents, and at an average of 2.25% interest over a period of 1,000 years, $4.3 billion. Dang, imagine how much money he'd have if he actually had savings back in the 20th century. Fry wastes no time in doing what all stupid people do when they acquire large amounts of money, waste it on ridiculous things nobody needs. In this dude's case, that means shooting up priceless artwork. Acquiring an antique mixtape of songs the future now calls classical music. Seneca, not lie. You other brothers think you're not. You can't just sit here in the dark listening to classical music and buying a 1997 can of anchovies. Final item, this unopened can of angry Norwegovies circa 1997. $1 jillion. That's not a number. Oh, you neck 15 million. Well, boys, your old mother knows when she's been beat. You win, young man. I tip my bonnet to you. What a classic. Sold to the gentleman who bought every item in today's auction. Mom's minions end up tricking Fry to bankruptcy, but she never gets her hands on the anchovies because the moron fed them to his friends. Okay, my friends, get ready for the most delicious extinct animal you've ever tasted. Is it cool? This needs no explanation, but feeding anyone, let alone people you call friends, anchovies that went out of date 1,000 years ago is blatant poisoning. The penalty for the crime is 5 years in the slammer and a $1,000 fine. But Fry can totally pay that one off. He may have used the anchovies, but he could still sell all that other C. We've already dealt through half Fry's disgusting criminal past, and now his outrageous crimes have already earned him an 11-year stay in the slammer. That don't seem too bad, but trust me, that jail time's about to skyrocket faster with the planetary express ship because Fry's next crimes are seriously messed up and very much unhinged. If you're ever having money troubles, just compare yourself to Philip J. Fry and you'll instantly feel better about yourself. I mean, this dude literally blew all of his money on expired anchovies, we just talked about that, and now has $6 to his name, which, by the way, isn't even enough to open a bank account. In the episode Insane in the Mainframe, Fry is desperate to get money, and when blowing all his money on lottery tickets fails, he opens a pension account, but it costs $10, and now he's $4 overdrawn. However, Fry gets all the pension money he could ever need, and more when a robot named Roberto robs the bank and offers him some of the dough. Creep water in that plan, get the dough. It's talking to you. Same here. The guy's all right. Here's something for your trouble. Hey, thanks, buddy. Freeze, Punch. You're under arrest, Pac. Quick, while they're not walking. Fry and Bender spend approximately 10 seconds as millionaires and are now on trial for theft of money. They both plead insanity, and the judge accepts without hesitation because they both hired a bird as their attorney. I swear I'm not making this up. The pair literally get shipped off in a box to a home for criminally insane robots. Fry was supposed to go to a human one, but it's full after being poor was declared a mental illness. At the Hal Institute, Fry gets stripped naked and tortured in a physical exam, and then a robot nurse takes him to his tiny cell. Pleased to meet you. Why? I mean, hey, at least he has the room to himself now. Fry got released from the robot asylum by the end of the episode, but he would have been there way longer if he was appropriately charged for his crime. While Roberto was the one who physically robbed the bank, Fry accepted a bag of stolen money from him, so in the eyes of the law, he's an accomplice in this robbery. Since he never used a weapon to threaten anyone, charges of basic robbery can be brought forward, and the penalty is 6 years in jail plus 500 grand in fines. Hopefully, Fry gets sent to a nicer prison for humans this time around. The strip search will definitely be 1,000 times less painful. Maybe. You only need to watch like 5 minutes of Futurama to know that Fry is the king of dummies. However, Bender came pretty darn close to dethroning him in the episode Godfellas. While Leela and Fry are busy fending off an attack from a space pirate captain, Bender is being a big help by sleeping on the job. He can't possibly sleep with all that racket going on, so he takes a nap inside a quiet tube where torpedo number 3 is supposed to get fired out of. Yeah, it's Darwin Award time. Torpedo number 3. That's not Torpedo 3 at all. Damn you, Fry and Lee. Now you realize that we children are my only real treasures. Mechanic boy. The ship can't reach Bender in time, so he continues to drift away through the cosmos. His endless tragic voyage becomes a bit less boring, though, when he gets impaled by an asteroid containing an entire world of little gnome elf thingies called shrimpkins. These tiny creatures begin to worship the robot as their metal god, and staying true to his character, Bender forces his followers to turn their land into a Lord Wiser brewery. Of course, the robot god honors their sacrifices with this moving act of kindness. Back on Earth, Fry is desperately trying to get his abusive best friend back and travels all the way to the Himalayan mountains to track him down using a monastery's powerful radio telescope. However, the monks won't let him use the device, so Fry sees no option but to imprison them all in a laundry closet while he spends 3 days looking for Bender. We cooked our shoes in the dryer and ate are bored. Do monks even wear shoes? Always imagine them barefoot connecting with nature. Fry finally throws in the towel and heads home, leaving the starving monks still locked in the laundry room. Thankfully, Bender returned to Earth and freed the monks himself. His shocking bout of empathy saved them from starving to death and Fry from 4 murder charges. However, the psycho can still be sentenced to 16 years in prison for 4 counts of false imprisonment. Those charges would also get him slapped with a $20,000 fine. Fry killed that space pirate in self-defense, so it wouldn't be fair to charge him with a murder for that for now. But seriously, rip to those parrots who died in the blast. I'm not really sure to introduce a crime as gross and disturbing as this next one, so let's just get into it. In the episode of Roswell that ends well, some idiot who, we'll never know who, stupidly puts metal in the microwave and the radiation blasts the crew all the way back to the year 1947. The spaceship crashes in the quaint town of Roswell, and Zoidberg becomes the first alien life to be discovered. Flying saucer captured. That's no flying saucers. My God. This means the flying saucer that crashed in Roswell, and the alien they captured was... Hello? So what are you guys doing tonight? Whatever. The guys have exactly 24 hours to rescue him from the military base and make it back to their own time period, or else they'll be stuck with a black and white TV for the next 20 years. Fry ventures out to find the other half of Bender's body and has been given strict instructions to not interfere with the past. However, the idiot becomes paranoid that his grandfather may be killed and he'll cease to exist. So he locks Grandpa Fry in a house in the middle of nowhere and drives away feeling super relieved that nothing had ever harmed him, except the atomic bomb. 2, 1... Strangely enough, Fry doesn't immediately start fading from time like Marty did in Back to the Future, so he consoles his grieving grandmother over a drink, and well, she moves on pretty quickly. These cookies, Pepper. Yeah, I shouldn't even exist, but I do exist. You can't really be my grandma. The crew find the two lovebirds snuggled up in bed together the next morning and try their absolute hardest to avoid vomiting their breakfast back up. Fry tells them to relax because the woman is not really his grandmother. The professor is forced to break some very life-ruining news to the perverted dimwit. Who's my grandfather? Isn't it obvious? You are. Ow! Did you say something, dearie? I'm a bit hard. I screwed my grandma jokes are way too dark to ever appear on The Simpsons. Also, Fry's grandfather is himself, and wouldn't that mean he's like severely inbred? That explains why he has room temperature IQ. Mr. I'm my own grandpa bursts into tears thinking about what disgusting grandma-loving degenerate he is, and it takes a dozen slaps in the face from Leela to snap him back to reality. Everyone rescued Zoidberg from the government and made it back to the 31st century, but what would happen if police ever find out about Fry's dirty little secret? Well, hopefully still illegal in the year 3000, and if that is the case, the pervert will get thrown in straight jail for 3 years and fined $10,000. We'll also need to add another 25 years and $5 grand in fine to his sentence for accidentally killing Enos with the atomic bomb. Yeah, Fry's definitely gonna have the wildest of what you in for story in prison. With a brain the size of a walnut and an impulsive personality to boot, you can count on Fry to destroy a bunch of stuff without even being aware of it. He's committed plenty of property damage throughout the show, but he literally, and I do mean literally, took the crime to new heights in the episode The Cryonic Woman. The crew is finished for the day, and Leela heads out leaving the keys in the ship's ignition. A huge mistake considering a moron and a sociopathic robot are still on board. Woo-hoo-hoo! Yeah! While everybody else fears for their lives, Fry and Bender have a ball joyriding Farnsworth's ship. The ginger tooth is fine. The Beals are literally having so much fun they doesn't even notice if he hit the Great Wall of China. And the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Honestly, it looked better straight. Fry got fired for stealing the Planetary Express ship, but being out of a job has got to be a million times better than serving all the jail time he racked up in an episode. Let me break it down for you. First, we discharged Fry with 3 counts of criminal damage, destroying the professor's home, business, and possessions, as well as 2 iconic landmarks. Definitely warrants the harshest penalty for the crime, ×3. In total, that'll be 128 years in the big house, plus $300 million in fines. Next, we've got 12 counts of manslaughter for accidentally crushing those Italians with the Leaning Tower of Pisa. That penalty can be as high as 25 years, though a guilty verdict on all charges would lead Fry to be serving 300 more years of jail time and a fine of 60 grand. The dead guys' lives should be really worth more than 5 grand each, but I digress. Lastly, we have theft of a vehicle and piloting without a license, which would bring the tool's total punishment to 446 years in jail and $300,065,000 in fines. I'm also dead certain he's banned from Italy and China for life by the way. There are probably actual rocks smarter than Philip J. Fry at times, so it comes as no surprise that a guy who doesn't think before he acts has committed murder after murder. I've created a chronological timeline of all these slangs, and in case you were wondering, no, Fry doesn't give a crap about any of these atrocities. Starting off with the episode of My 3 Sons, our killer drinks an alien emperor alive. The royal bottle is empty. You drank our emperor. No, it wasn't me. In I Dated a Robot, the crew lets Fry do whatever he wants for the day, but instead of getting up to his usual goofball antics like eating cereal off his head, the frickin' psychopath literally chooses to destroy an entire planet and murder at least 1 billion aliens. Just a few episodes later, in A Pharaoh to Remember, Fry and Leela blew up Bender's monument, killing approximately 1 million ancient Egyptian aliens in the nuclear blast. And finally, in Murder on the Planetary Express, Fry vaporizes McMasters after wrongly believing he was a flesh-eating monster that, by the way, didn't even exist. Assuming sentient aliens can be considered equal to humans, Fry would be facing 1 billion, 1 million, and 2 counts of murder overall. Let's say Mr. Murderer gets handed a 48-year life sentence for every creature he unalived. That would be a staggering 48,048,096 years you'll be rotting away in the Stony Lonesome 4. Our alien annihilator is also going to cough up a terrifyingly huge fine of $1,001,002,000 to cough up. Can you imagine if you try to pay all that off in loose change? I'd like to totally do that as to be maliciously compliant. Well, that's all of Fry's crimes done and dusted, guys, and our ginger knuckleheads' misdeeds have earned him a grand total of 48,048,592 years of the clink, plus a massive 1,103,606,250 dollars of a fine. That's a shocking amount of jail time and fines for just one doofus. What about these characters? Click the screen to find out how their crimes stack up against Fry's.